Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration and the Graduate School of Management. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the university fanfares will announce the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you by this action that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the dais party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Mr Paul Simons, academic staff, graduates, parents and friends. It is customary for the university and its guests to gather as a body for the purpose of conferring academic awards on its graduates. On behalf of the Chancellor of Griffith University, Mr Justice John McCrossan, it is my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to everyone present for this graduation ceremony this afternoon. It has always been the custom for Griffith University and for its guests to gather to celebrate the conferral of academic awards on its graduates. These occasions hold special significance for our graduates and their families and their friends and for the entire university community. In whatever capacity you are here this afternoon, you are most welcome. It is also the custom for Griffith University to bestow the degree of Doctor of the University in recognition of distinguished service to the Australian community. And this afternoon we honour Mr Paul Simons, AM, Chairman of Woolworths Limited. More will be said about Mr Simons in a formal way later in these proceedings. But in the meantime, I extend to him a very special welcome. We are delighted that he is able to share with us this important occasion in the life of the university, and we look forward to hearing his address later this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with a higher education institution which is as progressive and as innovative in its outlook as Griffith University. The recent National Quality Assurance Review ranked Griffith in the first band, confirming it as one of the nation's top universities. This first band placing reflects not only our vigorous adoption of quality improvement policies, but also the university's genuine commitment to the pursuit of excellence, of academic rigour, of student welfare, and of equity and intellectual freedom. We are committed to innovation and excellence, not only in the development of our academic programs, but also in the pursuit of new knowledge and in placing the university's considerable cultural and intellectual resources at the service of the wider community. Recognition of that commitment and of the high quality of our shared achievements by the Committee for Quality Assurance in Higher Education is therefore most gratifying and very welcome. The Faculty of Commerce and Administration and the Graduate School of Management, whose graduates we honour today, exemplify Griffith University's commitment to quality. Over the past year, they have grown and changed to accommodate the complex and ever-changing needs of today's government and commercial worlds. In 1994, the Minister of Employment, Training and Industrial Relations, the Honourable Matt Foley, launched the faculty's Bachelor of Retailing initiative, which was developed through a joint industry funding scheme. Support for the course from industry has been forthcoming in many forms and reflects the industry's commitment to establishing a professional career path in the retailing sector. And of course it goes without saying that Mr Paul Simons, who we honour today, is recognised as one of the giants of retailing in this country. In 1995, the Bachelor of Commerce, Banking, Finance and Risk Management was launched. And as with the retailing degree, this new program was designed in close collaboration with industry. A new chair in banking and finance is to be partially funded by the National Bank of Australia, with contributions of $35,000 per annum extending over 5 years. As part of the faculty's commitment to the highest standards of quality service, the Master of Administration course recently underwent a thorough review. The review panel recommended that the course undergo some modifications and be renamed the Master of Public Sector Management, reflecting its public sector orientation. The faculty also saw the review of its Bachelor of Commerce first year and honours courses. These reviews, which were undertaken with the assistance of industry representatives, will ensure that the courses remain up to date and relevant to industry needs. In the same way, the Graduate Diploma of Accounting was recast to become a Master of Professional Accounting, more appropriately reflecting the needs of graduates and of industry. The School of Accounting also signalled its intention to develop a Master of Advanced Accounting during 1995-96, and further refinements were made to the Master of Information Systems, which incorporates the Graduate Diploma of Information Systems. In 1994, the university saw the first full year of operation of the Graduate School of Management, which has been strongly supported by students. The faculty's Distributed Decision Support Facility also became operational in 1994. The Academic Support Unit, which the faculty established in 1994, has also continued to develop and to perform well. Established to give structured ongoing support to its target equity groups, the unit has been particularly successful in providing a range of support services to students, including the teaching of study and assignment preparation skills. It is the first of its kind in Australia, which operates at a faculty level and, being discipline-based, has proved better able to meet the needs of the students. And evidence of this may be found in the strong support the unit received from students in 1994, and in fact that the top first-year student for 1994 was drawn from one of the target equity groups. Let me return now to the students who have completed their studies and who are to receive their awards this afternoon. Today's function is of immense significance to those of you who rejoice for the moment in the title of graduates. You have spent, in most cases, the major part of your lives in processing through schooling and university. And you are now finally passing through the very transitory graduate stage until, in an hour or less, you will be exalted to the highly desirable state of graduates. You have demonstrated a command of the knowledge and skills necessary for your chosen field of endeavour, as well as a willingness to persist with the high level of discipline needed for high achievement in any field. Together, these qualities provide an excellent foundation for establishing a successful career. The best advice that I can offer you as you leave this place to embark on your careers is, regardless of what field you enter and in what capacity you find yourself engaged, keep all of your senses open, all receptors sensitive to new data, to new perspectives, to new developments, and in fact to all aspects of change. Today, in fact, should be regarded as the beginning of your study, not the end. You, our graduates this afternoon, join an impressive company of people who have gone before you and who have already achieved success and acclaim in both Australia and overseas. You, our new graduates, will, I am sure, make an equal contribution. As we proceed with this afternoon's ceremony, I express warm congratulations to each of you and extend to you our best wishes for your lives and for your careers ahead. I now call on the Deans to present the graduates from their respective faculties who are to receive their awards at this ceremony.
Deputy Chancellor, I present the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Commerce. Farisha Ali. Kim Andrew. Debbie Beck. Cheryl Bell. Slavko Borsik. Andrei Boucher. Andrew Boyce. Renee Bromley. Erin Brown. Nicholas Brownrigg. Andrew Burdett. Darryl Burke. Elizabeth Cannon. Davida Kavanagh. Phil Kavanagh. Paul Challoner. Arthur Chan. Nick Kohler Chapman. Pamela Chi. Wan Tung Chen. A Ching Chi. Stacey Clark. Sandine Clay. Jeremy Clements. Gerard Collins. Sandra Collins. Rachel Constantine. Ben Copcutt. Gwendolyn Corrie. Nigel Cronin. Charmaine Crouch. Philip Cummins. Mark Cutmore. Stephen Dahl. Scott Dan. Christopher Davey. Michael Defteros. Scott Dewar. Bronwyn Dover. Cecilia Doyle. Jennifer Duggan. Narelle Ether. Yvette Marie F. Stathis. Nectarios Eglazos. Julie Elwood. Belinda Erat. Morag Isles. Sarah Forrest Winchester. Brian Fulmer. John Gettner. Dennis Geraghty. Brendan Gibson. Patrice Gafunda. Danielle Gray. Trevor Greenaway. Cheryl Greenhill. Monique Gregory. Danny Hackles. Andrew Heddich. David Henville. Francis Hogan. Kel Holmes. Michelle Holton. Helen Hope. Jason Hoy. Nicole Hunt. Jeanette Ide. Anne Kelly. David Kenavan. Suk Tak Ko. Danielle Coleman. Lin Yet Kwong. Vin Lee. Mi Chich Lin. Ian Linton. Chien Shu Lo. Alison Lulham. Paul Maslam. Mark Masterton. Michael McCarthy. James McCosker. Catherine McGuffick. John McIver. Anthony Mealand. Douglas Meredith. Kylie Miller. Mark Moffat. Silvio Mogno. Andrew Moore. Nicole Moore. Paul Morris. Ted Morris. Peter Murphy. Angela Negus. Michelle Nichol. Carmen Neisler. Christopher Nix. Jocasta Norris. Darren O'Connor. Lawrence O'Keefe. Judith Owen Jones. Nick Papagiannis. Paul Parkinson. Leanne Paul. Helena Penko. Gary Pettiford. Damien Plum. Angela Pole. Tracy Prince. Helen Rainey. Raymond Paul Rapinette. Catherine Rayson. John Reeves. Mary Rice. Kylie Richards. Shannon Richards. Craig Robertson. Matthew Robertson. Megan Rose. Sandra Rowe. Deborah Sargent. Simone Saunders. Dean Savins. Janelle Schwartz. Kathy Silippo. Susan Smith. Nardine Spicer. Ian Stabe. Narelle Stanton. Shane Stegman. Roy Stevens. Michelle Styler. Angela Tan. Lindy Tan. Sally Thompson. Tu Ann Tran. Jason Treble. Karen So. Mark Tyso. Ian Walsh. Julianne West. Neil Whitehead. Rodney Wigglesworth. Shane Wild. Perry Wilkes. Tanya Williams. Zane Willis. Christine Wilson. Mark Wilson. Ruth Winter. Kenneth Wong. Lana Wong. Swank Wong. Linda Woodward. Martin Woolcock. Victoria Yorston. Audra Young. Joel Zagami. Peter Zentveld. Vas Milanis. Craig Mander. Glenn Stroud. Deputy Chancellor, the Medal for Achievement in the Bachelor's Degree course may be awarded annually to the graduate with the highest academic achievement in a Bachelor's Degree course. The medal is not awarded if there is no candidate of sufficient merit. Deputy Chancellor, I'm pleased to present to you a graduate who has been granted the 1994 Commerce Medal, Andrew David Moore. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Commerce with First Class Honours. Catherine Althus. Alan Meera. Peter Stevenson. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Commerce with Second Class Honours Division A. Rita Drainey. Gerald Hang. Catherine McHugh. Christine Munro. Kelly Smith. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Commerce with Second Class Honours Division B. Stephen Gapsa. Simon Pekach. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of courses of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration.
Deputy Chancellor, I present the Acting Director of the Graduate School of Management.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Business Administration. Jerry Patunda. Chris Bowen. Matthew Bowler. Raymond Chen. Hiron Kure. Ken Dunn. Graham Fisher. Mark Goldsworthy. Peter Howells. Gary Humphreys. Ian Kelly. Julia Martin. Bradley Muller. Michael Quinlan. Susan Schmutz. John Seawood. Ashley Selwood. Graham Trout. Brian Vernon. Jimmy Wang. Stephen Webber. Jeremy Wong. Jeremy Wong. Deputy Chancellor Jeremy Wong has also been granted the Graduate Diploma of Economics. Dalton Jun Ji, Isabella Zhu, Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduate courses of the Graduate School of Management. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research will now present a candidate for the award of the University Medal. Deputy Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who's completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with honours in recognition of academic excellence. Deputy Chancellor, I am pleased to present a graduate of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration who has been granted the 1994 University Medal, Catherine Eileen Athaus.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Griffith University Collegiate Singers.
If there were dreams to sell out for you, some cost a passing, some as exercise for my soul, that shade from life's edge.
With the authority of the Council of the University, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Webb, to make this presentation.
Deputy Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Mr Paul Simons, AM. Hedley Paul Simons was born in Swansea, Wales in 1927. In 1944, at the age of 17, he entered the Merchant Navy, where he spent the next 10 years of his life. It was during these formative years in the Merchant Navy that Paul Simons first gained a valuable insight into the qualities necessary for sound leadership and management. Good captains demanded high standards in drill and discipline and kept their ships well appointed and stocked. Such philosophies of leadership were to sustain and guide him during a long and successful career in retailing. While on board ship, he studied accounting by correspondence, and on his arrival in Sydney in 1949, he commenced work in a bookkeeping position at a rubber factory. Paul Simons then joined Woolworths as a management trainee in October 1954. Over the next 24 years, he was to develop an intimate knowledge of the retailing industry, rising to become Joint General Manager of Woolworths Limited in 1974. After spending 1977 at Harvard University studying advanced management, Paul Simons left Woolworths in 1978, frustrated in his attempts to introduce new and what were then considered radical ideas. As a freelance retailer, he joined the Franklin's discount supermarket chain in 1979, and as chief executive until 1987, he was responsible for charting its great successes. Although considering retirement at this time, Paul Simon was lured back to Woolworths when offered the position of executive chairman. Through his dynamic leadership and expert guidance, Woolworths has established itself as the nation's largest food retailer and the second biggest overall retailer and private employer in the country. Paul Simons has been instrumental in revolutionising the culture in which the company operates. He has developed a flatter management structure in which an atmosphere of equality is encouraged. While staffing facilities have been dramatically improved, certain non-productive benefits for senior management have disappeared. By increasing operational efficiency, introducing stricter cost controls, and improving service with increased staffing, a significant rise in sales and earnings has been recorded, despite the effects of a recession during the early years of Paul Simons' leadership. These changes, combined with extensive staff training and store refurbishment, have seen Woolworths successfully market itself under the slogan, "The Fresh Food People." A major factor contributing to this success was the establishment within the new culture of high ethical standards and integrity in business. Paul Simons is a prime example of ethical reform coming from the top and by example, and his influence has extended well beyond his own company. Paul Simons' long-held dream of returning Woolworths to the Australian Stock Exchange was realised in 1993 in what was to be the largest share market float in Australian corporate history. In its first year of trading after the float, the company proved a resounding success, earning an operating profit after tax of more than $200 million, and with sales in excess of $11.6 billion. It easily outstripped the retail industry's national sales growth of 5.7%. As one of Australia's most respected and leading businessmen, Paul Simons has received a number of prestigious awards which recognise that his achievements have benefited Australian business as a whole. He was named Businessman of the Year by Business Review Weekly and Australian Business Monthly in 1989 and 1991 respectively. In 1991 he was also made a member of the Order of Australia for services to Australian retailing. As a result of a readers' poll conducted by the Australian Financial Review, he was named Chief Executive Officer of the Year for New South Wales in September 1994. In November he was named Retailer of the Decade in the ABM Top 500 Awards of 1994. Under his guidance, Woolworths has been significantly recognised as an outstanding organisation by winning such accolades as Westfield's National Major Retailer of the Year for 1990, 1991 and 1994, ABM Top 500 Awards, Best Enterprise of 1992, and topping all major categories of the Far Eastern Economic Review Citibank's Top 200 Asia's Leading Companies survey in 1993 and 94. Paul Simon stepped down from the position of Executive Chairman of Woolworths in November 94, but remains on the board as non-executive chairman. His influence on the development of the company remains strong. Outside Woolworths, he continues to play a significant role in the business community. His expert advice on a wide range of topics, including ethical reform, is highly respected in both political and journalistic fields, and he is often called upon to address his peers at conferences and lectures. Paul Simon's success with Woolworths has highlighted the dynamic role the retail industry plays in the growth of Australia's economy. His outstanding achievements have been the catalyst for stimulating renewed interest in this essential area of the economy and for the formation of innovative degree courses in retail management. In view of the university's commitment to the development of retailing studies, it is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Paul Simons, Member of the Order of Australia, in recognition of his distinguished services to the retailing industry. Deputy Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Paul Simons for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
It gives me great pleasure to call upon our newly elected Dr. Paul Simons, AM, to deliver the occasional address.
Deputy Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, faculty members, distinguished guests, graduates, it's your day. And it's been a lovely ceremony, and I'm very honoured to have been invited to come along and share with you the joy of receiving your degrees. It's a great day for you all, I know. It's a big sacrifice to do what you people have done in order to come up on the stage here and receive your degrees. I know that as a parent of children who've graduated. I know what hard work is involved. I know too the sort of sacrifices that you have to make in order to achieve the degrees, and the sacrifices that very often your families have to make when you devote so much time to your studies. But I'm quite sure that in time you will benefit greatly from taking the trouble that you have to improve your knowledge. I congratulate those people here today that have organised this very impressive ceremony, and I know all of you who've got your degrees will remember it with great joy. It's been well organised and a very dignified ceremony. You've heard something of my background during the introduction by the Vice-Chancellor. I've spent pretty well all my shoreside working life working in retail after coming ashore. I'm so pleased that this university is finally recognising that retailing is not just a Cinderella industry as it was when I joined it in 1954. It's a very highly developed industry now, employing almost 10% of the workforce. And during the time I've been back with Woolworth, since 1987 until now, I've seen the employment in Woolworths Limited grow from 57,000 people to 80,000, despite the recession. We grew our staff all the way through, believing that a recession would eventually end. It's all cyclical, and I don't think people here should be too despondent about the ups and downs. I'm sure that your professors will tell you nothing is constant. You will always have ups and downs in business or other affairs. So you have to take the long view, and in Woolworths we took the long view. We put money into the company and we hired more people, believing that the recession we had to have would have to end. And our confidence was justified. Now, when I was honoured by the university in this way to come along here and talk to you, I had to think pretty hard about it, because I'm not an academic, and I had to choose a subject, and I had to get through it pretty quickly, they told me, because the people who'd gotten their degrees wanted to go out and celebrate, and I don't want to hold you up too long. But you may have gathered from what the Vice-Chancellor had to say the scope of the business that I've been involved in, the size of it, the dollars, the numbers of people and so forth. Business is never a one-man band, and certain individuals do get to be honoured because they're seen to be at the top of the tree. But one thing I've always believed is in the power of the people that you work with, your associates, the teamwork. So I chose as a subject the power of people. I've always been impressed with people's energy and ability, provided they're given their head and they have the knowledge to perform the tasks that we give them. Now, earlier this year, there was a story in Forbes, which is an American business magazine, which examined the reasons why the United States banks, and they might have included Australian banks, lost so much money through lending to companies that failed in the 80s. Central to their study was the question, why did many banks err so grossly in assessing the value and prospects of companies to which they lent and lost money? Which posed another question. Just what is it that constitutes value? Corporate value. Forbes concluded that there has been a fundamental change from the old industrial age yardsticks of worth. In the old days, bricks, mortar, plant, equipment, stock, past performance, and even goodwill constituted the worth of a company. It was fairly physical measurement of worth. Instead, what counts today, and this is Forbes' view of it after careful research, instead what counts today is intellectual capital, intellectual assets, being the sum of the education, experience, imagination, motivation, commitment, and intelligence of a company's people. It's almost intangible. The worldwide havoc of corporate failures and consequent bank losses in the 80s have forced us to accept that corporate success will, more than ever before, depend on the power of its people's intellectual strength. From here on, companies must be sure to recruit people with high levels of skills, the skills necessary to meet the competitive challenges of the remainder of this century and more especially the next century. Not just to recruit either, but to make a commitment to provide ongoing training in order to maintain a sharp edge to the company's intellectual asset, its people. This new post-industrial society, the so-called information and knowledge society in which we find ourselves, brings with it problems as well as benefits. Change always does. For example, will older management be prepared to make way for younger people? And I don't mean that the older management should be put out to pasture and retired. What I mean is that it's a responsibility of the older and more experienced people in an organisation to create a culture in which there is opportunity for the younger, more knowledgeable people coming into the company to develop new methods or activities which capitalise on the rapidly changing technologies and community lifestyles. As important as the technology and intellectual assets are to a company, they'll only bring financial success if the corporate culture is such that it recognises and encourages individuality. By that means, one is able to get the very best from its brighter, creative people, who in turn derive satisfaction from their work. I truly believe that during the last 7 years in Woolworths we have created such a culture. It was a very centralised company in '86. Today it is a decentralised company comprising something like 12 very large profit centres, each of which is managed by its own general manager or managing director with his own team of people. We devolved responsibility, we empowered our people, and then followed the success. Clearly, such a culture is attractive to high achievers who shun centralised bureaucracies. And for large corporation, that presents another problem. Decentralisation and empowerment is not without its problems. We have, for example, lately seen a very large and famous merchant bank in the UK, Barings, collapse suddenly and spectacularly because one of its traders was allowed to gamble in the derivatives or futures markets. The point I wish to make is that the smart company will have a positive, encouraging culture with plenty of latitude for its new ideas people, but it will have first-rate management information systems which monitor all significant elements of the business. Lack of management and board control featured prominently in the 80s horror stories, and I fear may continue to be a problem because as we become more and more reliant on computers, so vital information tends to be invisible. And this brings us to the subject of corporate governance. Following the failures, of course, directors are being questioned about their governance of their companies, their corporations. Governance has received a lot of publicity just lately, the Cadbury report in Britain and so on. But in spite of all of that, these terrible disasters continue. It's now well understood in Australia and elsewhere that directors must accept responsibility for what goes on within the company. Gone are the days when people join boards because of the prestige attached to the appointment. Also on the way out is the practice of appointing old mates or old friends because of some past favour or that you could rely on them for their support through thick and thin. Directors now have to know what is going on and must question when they attend board meetings. If they do not understand the business, they must ask questions. Until they're satisfied they have the knowledge to vote in favour or against a particular resolution. Today, the boards of strong, reputable companies are careful to select new directors for what they will contribute to effective governance of the corporation and protection of the shareholders' interests. At the same time, anyone invited to join a board should be careful to conduct their own due diligence into the company. It's very flattering to be asked to become a director, but I'm sure there are people about today on boards that were quite sorry that they ever decided to join it, having got inside and had a look at the parlour state of affairs. So it's incumbent on a director to conduct their own due diligence to satisfy themselves that they're not going to be exposed to litigation resulting from any illegal practices, past or present, and that there are no insoluble financial problems. Directors should be aware of the great responsibility they carry and, like other members of the corporate team, develop skills which allow them to properly perform their duties. The Institute of Company Directors is providing special courses to enable directors to upgrade their skills periodically. Today, directors are expected to be able to serve on committees of boards, such as the Audit Committee or the Remuneration Committee, or on a committee called Nomination to pick other directors. They must also have a reasonably good understanding of corporate law today. No longer will a director be able to offer an excuse such as, "I didn't know it was going on." It will put you in jail if you don't know what is going on. At all levels of a business organisation, we have to be more knowledgeable and work smarter. Last November, Peter Drucker, the US business guru, wrote a story, The Age of Social Transformation. And I've only read reference to it. I haven't read it, but I intend to get it. In it, he said, 5 years from now, knowledge workers, technologists who work with their hands as well as with their theoretical knowledge, will make up a third or more of the US workforce, as large a share as blue-collar workers ever enjoyed, except in wartime. In other words, there's a great change taking place in the nature of employment. And luckily, fortunately, the people in this room are preparing themselves for that. He went on to say, there'll be no poor countries by the year 2000. Rather, they'll be referred to as ignorant countries, ignorance equating to poverty. Similarly, I believe the same will apply to business. There'll be those who are ignorant and those who'll prosper through improving their intellectual capital. Institutions of learning such as Griffith University have an immensely important role to play in providing the talent to keep Australian business, indeed the nation, right up with leaders around the world. We're sometimes criticised about our management practices, but all in all, we're not too bad on the international scale of things. Certainly in the retail industry, we measure up very well. I think increasingly in the hospitality industry and such, we're doing better. But we can still do better, very, very much better. And to do that, we must have the knowledge and skills of people like yourselves on our payroll. Throughout my private life and in my corporate life, I've always been fortunate to have had supportive, caring family, friends and associates with good health. Who could wish for anything more than that, except that each of you here today might have the same good fortune. May I conclude by thanking you, Deputy Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, for the honour you bestow on me today. I accept it with humility, genuine humility, because I know I'm in the presence of people who, in their own time and with the knowledge and skills that they possess, will achieve much more than I have. Once again, thank you.
Deputy Chancellor, it's my pleasure to thank Dr. Simons on his address to us this afternoon. It is a softly spoken but terribly significant address, as I'm sure all of our graduates in the areas of commerce and business administration will recognise, and I'm sure they'll be carrying forward many detailed memories of this important address into their careers. I thought it was encouraging in the context of the business cycle to be reminded by a long participant in the ups and downs of business that it's always best to take the long view, as Mr Simons and Woolworths have done, and there's great encouragement in that view at all times. It's very important for us in universities to note his words about the importance of human capital, as we economists call it, intellectual value, as Paul Simons called it, because universities are, of course, vital contributors to the information society and to the development of knowledge workers, a phrase which probably still doesn't come too easily to many of us, but that is the important way we should start to see our involvement in our society. He has endorsed the importance of allowing space and scope in industry for individuality, for allowing people to make their own contributions, and his companies have been important exemplars of that approach. At the same time, he points out the vital importance in keeping control of organisations through well-developed and efficient management information systems, where again our university is making important contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join with me again in thanking Mr Simons for his address to us, and join in acclamation. Thank you. May I conclude by offering my congratulations to all our graduates, and particularly in the context of what Paul Simons has said about lifelong learning and the need to keep up to date in the knowledge industry, commend to them membership of the Alumni Association and keeping in touch with Griffith University, which we are sure can help you throughout your careers. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, the Griffith University Collegiate Singers will sing the traditional student song Gadi Ama Sigatur. Please rise as the singers enter and remain standing during the singing.
Gadi Ama Sigatur.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please remain standing as the Deus Party, the staff procession and the graduates retire. Thank you.